Welcome everybody to the Sauvage Patriots. The Sauvage Patriots. We are going to be discussing the running of the 2024 election with three very particular individuals, Mr. Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott, and Donald J. Trump. Please stay tuned for our show. We shall be right back.
Indubitably.
Hopefully everyone is ready for the weekend because I sure am. I'm absolutely tired and I need my sleep.
First things first, we want
have
to Memorial Day. Don't forget why we celebrate it. Respect the fallen.
Why?
Just to throw that out there.
Please, presenter.
Shut up.
I'm a leftist right now. Flag offends me.
I'm triggered.
Flag is offensive.
Oh man,
I'm triggered.
That reminds me. Did you
That's
see
a
that
Every time I
Judy
see a
Greer-
flag, I think white supremacy.
Yes.
Yeah, did you see that Judy Greer interview where she's saying that the left should take back the American flag because we're the real Americans? That was her end phrase. We're the real Americans. We
I
should
don't wanna
take the
get
American
mad.
flag back from the right extremists.
I don't want to get mad. I will not watch that video.
Yeah.
I'll just go
I
to
don't
Twitter.
know. Roderick is supposed to be here, but he's in part of our chat. So if he doesn't have the link, it's his fault. I'll blame Darky for that one. That's midnight. He say he's 2 shades shy of midnight is what he calls himself. So I'm gonna do it too.
That's true. Eyes and teeth. Eyes
He
and
said it.
teeth.
He said it, not me. 2 shades short of midnight. That's what he said.
He's gonna-
So to begin with, we have 3 people running that are notable names. Obviously, Mr. Trump. Then we have Mr. DeSantis and Mr. Scott. So what
So we
we're gonna
have
do is we already know
the real
what
white
Trump's
supremacist?
platform is. We know exactly what he's putting. Yes.
So essentially, we have
The
the real white
black face of
supremacist,
white
the
supremacists.
cause of white supremacy, yes, and then the blackface of white supremacy.
And the black face of supremacy. Yeah. Everyone's running that hates black people. All 3, apparently.
Apparently, yep.
This is Mr. Scott's website. It's very bare. I'm maybe it's just me, but it feels as though these guys are just putting the very minimum amount of work to get the websites that they need.
yeah.
So let's see what
It's the
the 3
Obama
lines
website.
say. Tim's story and faith in America. Let's see what faith in America is. Okay, a video. All right. I want to see him print out his or give me a printout of what he actually wants. But let's see what he says.
Yeah.
On this day, April 12th, 1861, in this harbor, God, in full liberty and justice for all. America's soul was put to the test, and we prevailed. Today, our country is again tested. Once again, our divisions run deep, and the threat to our future is real. Joe Biden and the radical left have chosen a culture of grievance over greatness. They're promoting victimhood instead of personal responsibility, and they're indoctrinating our children to believe we live in an evil country. And all too often, when they get called out for their failures, they weaponize race to divide us, to hold on to their power. When I fought back against their liberal agenda, they called me a prop, a token, because I disrupt their narrative. I threaten their control. They know the truth of my life disproves their lies. See, I was raised by a single mother in poverty. The spoons in our apartment were plastic, not silver, but we had faith. We put in the work, and we had an unwavering belief that we too could live the American dream. I know America is a land of opportunity, not a land of oppression. I know it because I've lived it. That's why it pains my soul to see Biden and liberals attacking every rung of the ladder that helped me climb. If the radical left gets their way, millions more families will be trapped in failing schools, crime-ridden neighborhoods, and crushing inflation. Not on my watch. This is personal to me. I will never back down in defense of the conservative values that make America exceptional. And that's why I'm announcing my exploratory committee for President of the United States. I will defend the Judeo-Christian foundation our nation is built on and protect our religious liberty. I will stand up to communist China and restore opportunities for hardworking Americans to thrive and prosper. I will fight to give every parent a choice education so children have a better chance in life. I will defend our borders and our neighborhood streets, and I will protect our most fundamental right, the right to life itself. I bear witness that America can do for anyone what she has done for me, but we must rise up to the challenges of our time. This is a fight we must win, and that will take faith. Faith in God, faith in each other, and faith in America. God bless our United States of America, and God bless you.
Okay, thoughts?
Okay,
So-
so first off, I was gonna say that video it said his exploratory committee, which was opened in April of 12th of this year, right? Is when he said that the exploratory committee was happening. But he announced his official run on May 22nd, and they still haven't updated their website with a new video. Basically, I'm sorry, I had to point that out as kind of like a, like, are you taking this seriously, dude? If you're not even
No.
updating your website with any of your stuff,
Uh,
come on, man.
I mean, I like Tim Scott. I've always liked Tim Scott, you know, with his conservative beliefs, and he's just, you know, he's grounded in what he believes in. But everything he said, Donald Trump has already did or attempted to do, and was stonewalled by the left. To me, he was just talking like a typical politician, a polished politician. That's what he was talking about. You know, just listening to him. This is how they all talk. The difference is that he's going up against somebody that's not polished, that actually really speaks to Americans. So I honestly don't think that Tim Scott has a shot, though I'm a fan of him. I don't think he has a shot running up against some heavy hitters like Trump and DeSantis.
No.
Lee?
Again, I still don't know what his positions are. I mean, he talked about border security, the economy, fighting the left, which is essentially what every single GOP politician is trying to run on. So I just don't know where to stand with him. Yeah, he seems like a decent dude, but like y'all said, you know, polished politician. Like, I want to know, not only will you promise, but do you have the balls enough to deliver?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Mike on this one. He didn't say a whole lot. He said what everyone's been wanting someone to say. It didn't sound like he had any real plan for it. If anybody remembers this 2016 campaign for Trump, it wasn't just his rallies had the platitudes, but when he had a site, his site had every single approach that he was going to take when he got into office. The site was well done. The site had information. It didn't just have videos of his campaign and his rallies. They had actual policies that he wanted to pass in detail. He even mentioned that he didn't have a name for it, but he mentioned his treaty that he did with Mexico, the new treaty that he did when he got rid of NAFTA. So he was mentioning a whole bunch of things. I put those up there. Whoever can grab the first one can grab the DeSantis webpage. That'd be great, and bring it up. I just don't know. See, Tim's battle is actually going to be one that, because he is a Black Republican, and unfortunately for him, that's his actual losing card with America. I hate to say it, but that's his losing card. A Black Republican won't make it in today's climate. A Black Democrat will have a better chance. And that's the unfortunate truth about it. He's not enough known. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, one of the things that you got to remember with
Get a little closer to the mic.
Presidential-
Still can't hear you.
I'm just having technical difficulties. How about this?
Yeah.
Is that good? Okay, so you got to remember when it comes to presidential elections is that there's the it factor, right? And usually that comes down to charisma. A lot of the people that you see and look at have to have the it factor, which is charisma, right? If you don't see it in them, it's not going to work out. That's one of the big issues with Tim Scott's going to be is he's too polished of a politician. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have charisma. He doesn't have the presence that Donald Trump has. That's just going to be the thing. Same thing with Obama. Obama had it. He had the presence. He had the charisma. He doesn't have it. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
And someone asked me in a chat, or somebody questioned is he grounded though? I believe he's grounded in conservative values. That's what I mean by grounded. You know, family, religion, the country. You know, that's what I mean by grounded. Now, do I think he's grounded if money got involved on certain issues? Man, most people will turn. But I believe what I'm seeing right now, and I've watched him through his career, he's always been grounded in very conservative ideals. So, and that's something that I do look at because I'm conservative as hell.
That's true.
Bring up that Ron DeSantis page for me. Okay, it's up.
Already got it
Okay,
up.
here we go. So here is Ron. Now, Ron had a very horrible release to his campaign, to say the least. I don't know what exactly he was thinking, if he was thinking. He tried to do it via Twitter. That was a debacle. While he was talking on that stream, he sounded monotone, dry. He didn't sound convicted about what he wanted to push. But the one thing that most people caught was his plagiarism of Trump's ideals. If you can go back to our great comeback and play that for me full screen, that'd be great.
Which one? Sorry.
Scroll down.
Yep.
Down, 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 there.
Oh, yeah, there. This one.
Our border is a disaster. Crime infests our cities. The federal government makes it harder for families to make ends meet, and the president flounders. But decline is a choice. Success is attainable, and freedom is worth fighting for. Righting the ship requires restoring sanity to our society, normalcy to our communities, and integrity to our institutions. Truth must be our foundation, and common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. In Florida, we proved that it can be done. We chose facts over fear, education over indoctrination, law and order over rioting and disorder. We held the line when freedom hung in the balance. We showed that we can and must revitalize America. We need the courage to lead and the strength to win. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running for president to lead our great American comeback.
Nope.
Yeah.
How did he say his name again?
DeSantis.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Who the hell is
So, yeah,
I
DeSantis?
actually have another video based off of that one that Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out that is absolutely hilarious. Do you want to see?
Yeah,
that one?
find it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
one
it
thing about
already.
DeSantis is he almost, like you said, is plagiarizing. He sounds just like Trump. He uses a lot of
Yeah.
Trump words, a lot of
Trumpian
Trump
words.
sayings, a lot of Trump talk. And if you look at his you look at the way he governs, is he tries to be like Trump light though. Just notice the way he talks, the way he's in your face. He tries to be Trump, and it works for him in Florida. But trying to use that tactic, what Trump pretty much brought to the forefront, and use it against Trump,
It's not gonna work.
It's not going to work
I
against Trump.
think I said this like last week. If he ever tries to go after up against Trump, he has to fight two things. If you're going to go and attack Trump, you're risking a lot to your campaign, because what you're doing in essence is trying to steal from somebody who has now not just a record off the screen with the campaign he ran in 2016. He had an entire 4 years to show what would happen to somebody really trying to push for America. And he has the backing of a lot of patriotic people. And over the
Let's not
last
also
2 years, he's
forget.
actually gained a lot more people from the left. So you have the one thing you did not want to do is go after Trump. And you don't want to copy him. You don't want to mimic. You need to be so unique compared to Trump that they can't even say you're the same. And he's not doing a very good job of distancing himself from the way Trump operates.
No.
And I would also venture to add to that, Marlon, that not only did he have the 4-year track record, but you also had these last 2 years of a public massacre that galvanized his base too. So
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
This is awesome, by the way.
Have the courage? Is it worth the sacrifice? Have the courage?
That was great.
Who did that?
Did you see?
I don't know, but
Did you see the
Donald Trump
tweet,
Jr.
the
actually
meme
tweeted it out.
of them talking about his hand movements, and they put
Yeah.
Trump and DeSantis side by side, and all the hand movements were the same. And then somebody posted a meme, and they said, "Ron did Trump something? Did Trump?" And he had his face orange with like blonde hair, but it was Ron DeSantis.
gosh.
That is hilarious. They're
Just
going to eat
put
him
him-
up. And here's the thing. Ron DeSantis will never win Trump's base, ever. There is no way in hell. So, I mean, it's hurting the party per se, because there are people out there that will not leave Trump no matter what.
Period.
No matter what the polls say, no matter what the news says, they're going to vote for Trump regardless. So this is something DeSantis really has to think about. Like Marlon said, when you go back to Florida and it comes time, you don't win, and it comes time for re-election, all those Trump supporters that are your supporters in Florida also are going to turn on you in a heartbeat.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I don't think we can really forget about what DeSantis didn't do during the Mar-a-Lago raid.
Right.
That stung. That stung. So
Yeah.
Very,
When you're
very
silent
true.
about something that you say you're trying to fight against,
Very, very
you know,
true.
it's kind of, because I think he also said he wanted to try and dismantle the ATF and the CIA. Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's the big thing
stretch.
right now. Of course, he's going to say that, but you know, he went to
No.
Yale.
He said he wanted the CDC and the NIH to burn to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
I mean, while you say that, that's fine. But okay, here's my problem with politics in general. Okay, and this is also my critique of Trump. And people who have followed the things either here on Too Strong understand I've said this before. His backing of the jab was dumb to me from the get-go. Warp speed, all of that trash. That you should have never backed that to begin with. You should have never given in. The instant you gave into that, I think you lost the election. I think it left room for many people to sneak away from you because you allowed both Fauci and the rest of the global agenda people to get a hold of way more than they should in America. You gave up our sovereignty to the WHO. You gave up our traveling to the WHO. You gave up our policies to the WHO. Whenever that was the most asinine thing you did, Mr. Trump. If there was one thing I would rake you across the coals for, and probably hold against you for a long time, it'd be that. I thought that was one of the dumbest things you ever did. Having Fauci as a director of any kind was the dumbest thing you ever did.
Exactly.
Listening to him, listening to anything about shutting down was the biggest mistake ever. So
Yes.
if you came back in and you still did that same, I would have to, regret. I hope that's something that you undo.
But I think Donald Trump learned his lesson.
There we
though.
go.
yes,
I fixed it. I'm good now. So I think Donald Trump has learned his lesson when it comes to trusting this state, right? So before he came in there, he wasn't a politician. He didn't know any better, right? So you got to think of all the things he's had to gone through this entire time. He knows the dirty game that they're going to play with him. He knows who's on his side and who's not. He's only going to have one more term left. He's not going to care what people think about him at the end of the day. He's just going to get things done. If we give him a chance to be in the office again, he's going to schedule F for everybody. He's going to execute order schedule F, and then he's going to erase all of those bureaucrats out of the office, because he's coming back for revenge. He's not coming back to play ball with everybody. He's coming back to clear house. That's what he's going to be doing.
And that's one of the things that they're worried about. But one thing about DeSantis, if George Soros talks highly about you, you ought to think twice about voting for him. Think twice. Somebody called him a rhino. I believe DeSantis is a rhino? Oh, yeah, I believe he's a rhino, because George Soros wouldn't be hyping you up against Trump, So that's where you got to look at him like, I don't know. And then another thing, he went to Yale. Rumor is that he was part of a certain group in Yale. So that's another red flag for me. Same group that the Bushes and Kerrys and all them are part of. So people are going to start digging into his history, and he's got to worry about that, because if anything negative comes up from his time in Yale and he's associated with that group in any way, shape, or form, he's definitely not getting the votes of the Q people. He's not getting the votes of the diehard Trump people, which are the majority follow Q, not all. So he's really got to figure out how he's going to be not Trump to win us over. And I don't see him doing it.
Here's the other thing too. When you're going into this particular next season of the 2024 election, the base that you have to be a little more genuine. You can't use the politics as usual. Trump changed that field. I'm sorry to tell people that he changed the whole platform of how you run for president. They would much rather see you speak as though we're friends than try to persuade me with an amazing video of you marching in the background looking like you're going to make this one big summa cum laude, magna cum laude speech, and then you step out in the bright lights of the... You can't... I'd much rather see you sitting down with a friend of yours talking about it and telling exactly what you're going to do than to tell me that you spend a whole lot of money on your campaign, because that doesn't help your case at all. You can't change anything, especially when you are coming at this from, and this, I agree with you, Core, by the way, that he might be an outside star. Same thing with Bro. I think he is. We looked at him some time ago with this whole COVID response, and there was a major thing missing from his approach that I was hoping would be solidified in later days after his response of how Florida stayed open. He still allowed certain massive things to take place when it came to that. And one of them was still the promotion of the vax. He may not have made it mandatory, but he still went after promoting it as something that you should do. Not that you have to, but you should. I'm sorry. Look, all of them have that same trend. And I said before, that's the same thing. They all push that particular thing. Just don't. No one does it with the flu. They don't do it anything. Just that. And the more we investigate and see that it was a big lie, the more we get worried about people who come to the forefront saying, it's good. We don't need to force it on people, but it's good. It's not good. It was never good. In no way, shape, and form was it good. Not the rollout, not the implementation, not the aftermath. None of it was good. So stop making that even come out your mouth as something that you would even give the option to. You should never give the option. I want to see somebody step to the forefront and say, we are killing that whole concept and we're putting it out of production. No one's going to have it. I want to see someone say that. I want to see a presidential candidate come forward and said, we are closing down everything to do with that program, and it is no longer lawful to be had here in America. That's what I want to see. I don't think anyone's going to do that, though. It's not even Trump.
I don't think so either.
It's too much money. It's too much money in the pharmaceutical industry for them to even do that. The lobbyists and all that stuff. So a lot of these politicians, I don't think so much Trump, though he did push it initially with Operation Warp Speed. But they have money invested in these things, and they don't want to lose that money, so they're never going to come out and flat out say it's banned from America. They'd probably allude to something like, well, you can get it if you go to your doctor and your doctor approves, something like that. But the flat out ban it, I don't think that ever happened until the money is found and you follow the money and figure out where it's going.
And that's the point. But they can.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You can find that out. It's not even hidden stuff. Like, okay, they say power is not fully invested in the presidential seat. Okay, you have to go through a whole lot of channels in order to get that particular thing. You don't. You can set up your own special counsel and get that looked into. And especially if you find violation of the Geneva, you can definitely shut that down.
Yep.
There is nothing you can have to go through anyone for that. I'm setting up a special counsel right now to investigate everything that took place, from the money, and I don't need Congress to have no meeting about it. I am assigning my own person to personally go over there, and I'm using the powers of my office to make sure that everyone at the NIH give me every stinking document I want, or we're cutting all ties from them. It's really that simple. That particular point, you don't need Parliament, you don't need you don't need the Congress, and you don't need the House for any of that. They pass all kinds of non-constitutional executive orders all the time, but that one you don't want. No, we got to get to the bottom of that. We have to hold people like Fauci accountable. We have to arrest him. He needs to be in prison for life, if not the chair. All of it needs to happen.
There's a couple things with that too. Is like one of the only people that are talking about the pharmaceutical industry is Kennedy right now, right? Everybody else is staying away from it, but Kennedy's like leaning into it hardcore with pharmaceuticals and the pharmaceutical lobby. Like, he's one of the only people, and that's why the left hate him so much right now, is because he's going hard on vaccines and he's going hard on the pharmaceutical industries. Like, real talk here. Like, that's one of the things that people are liking about him. And he's going to get that other side, the people that agree with him, of like, this stuff is nuts. And Fauci made bank on all of the vaccines that were produced. Like, people don't understand that he got paid for all of the vaccines that were produced in royalty fees. That dude made out with more money than you will ever make in your entire life, and they forced you to take it. That's how messed up the whole system is. You just paid for his new vacation condo that he went to retire to, or wherever else he's ended up right now.
His box seats.
Yep.
His box seat at the baseball game.
So I don't trust DeSantis. He's not getting my vote. I don't care what he did in Florida. People are asking in the chat, what group? Just look it up. I'm not going to say the group on here because I don't know how the
they already said what it was.
Oh, okay, the YouTube algorithm. Yep. So it's in the chat. Go and look it up. I'm not saying that as a fact. This just things going around. Bro runs in conspiracy theory circles. So this is just something running around. So look it up and come up with your own conclusion.
Yeah, the mere fact. Okay, here's a telltale, people. If I have cancer, and I go to the doctor, my doctor, and he says, well, looks bad from what I can see. I'm not a cancer specialist, but I know cancer, and you have 3 months left to live. And then you leave the office, and he said, are you sure? And he says, yeah. You got two options. You take his word, or you go get what we call a second opinion. You go to another doctor. The doctor examines you. He said you had how many? 3 months? Yeah. No, it looks more like 2 months to live. Now you're getting really scared. So now you're thinking, well, maybe the first one's right, but this one's even more right because he gave me even less time. But then you go and find an expert, and you go talk to him, and he said, they gave you how long? 2 months? It's like, we could treat this. It's not even life-threatening. This can easily be taken care of with a little medication, not even chemo. You're not going to die. This is not terminal. How do you know? I am a cancer expert. The others he spoke to are doctors, but I specialize in cancer. You couldn't even do that with COVID. That is all I needed to know that something was up. The instant you'd start telling me I can't get another opinion about it, you are lying to me. There's always another opinion. Plus, it's always my choice.
And not to mention, they were silencing opposing opinions from actual medical professionals too.
Period. That was the biggest
That's
red
it.
flag ever. Ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Trust the science, they say. Trust
Yeah.
the science when you don't even let anybody dissent against any scientific foundation. You know what I mean? Because like that's not how science works. That was the whole the consensus thing. It's like that's not how science works. Science is a method of methodical research and development, right? We look at things, we see what's good, what's not good. You make a model, the model turns out to be wrong, you make a new model. Then you work on that model until it works. That's how science is done. Everything is always changing. Science always changes. What we knew yesterday isn't the same thing we know today. Neither is 50 to 100 years ago isn't the same thing we know now, because science always changes. The minute that you decide that science can never change, that turns into dogma, right? So now you're going into that phrase of like, this is what the science Bible says, and this is what it will always say forever and always, and you can never change. And that's dangerous, because then no innovation ever happens. And now we're stuck with these people. Same thing with climate change. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if there's people that disagree with what we have to say, as long as the scientific consensus is that we're all going to die in 10 years, which was 20 years ago.
Touche.
Right? So
No,
that's science.
I mean,
that's
Yeah,
how it
that's how
works.
it goes. That's how it goes.
Didn't
Yeah.
AOC say we were going to die in 12 years, like 3-4 years ago? So
5
we're
years
getting,
ago.
5 years ago. Oh yeah, man. About 8 more years, man. We're going to be done. She said so.
I don't know about them, but I'm not going out like that. I don't know how they're pulling that off, but I haven't gotten a memo yet from anybody that I'm going to go out like that. My only problem with all of this election stuff is, one, whether 24 will take place, because like I said, they keep trying to bring new things to light, to hamper, to find a way to shut down things. They're going to come up with something else. They have another 4 months before they can decide what they're going to start to try and roll out. I would not be in the least bit surprised if something showed up and said we can't do 2024. I think putting Scott and DeSantis in the race will severely hurt the GOP. One, because Scott can't make it, but he's detracting, and DeSantis is polarizing enough to detract, but not enough to get in. So all you're going to end up doing is splitting the voter base and destroying your only chance of getting control of government back. And the only thing you're going to enable the left to do is to create more chaos in the next 4 years, and that will be the end. And when I say the end, I mean the Alexandria type end of America. I'm telling you now.
And that's a good point you brought up again, Marlon, because you constantly say it about the election not happening in 2024. The WHO director just put out that there is a deadlier pandemic coming that's deadlier than COVID.
Of course.
So get ready. And this is real news. So I mean, what are they saying right before election time? You guys are going to throw this out there, and it's something deadlier.
Yeah,
and you're right. They're going to be like, well, we can't have the elections. We got to shut everything down. We're going back to lockdowns. We can't do this. We can't do that. And we declared a state of emergency, so the elections are null and void.
I don't think it's going to be that. There's a couple of things I want to point out when it comes to elections. And the first one is the only reason these people are running in the first place is so they get cabinet positions. That's how primaries work, right? You run against the guy that you know is going to be the front runner, then they give you a seat. That's how all these things work. It might not be the seat you want, but they'll give you something. You could be an ambassador somewhere. You're going to be Secretary of State. You're going to be the transportation secretary in Buttigieg's case, which is funny though, because everybody said, hey, it's an easy job. You don't really have to do anything. And then all the messed up things happen to happen when he was in the seat. So it's kind of funny how that works out. Irony and karma for you. But the other thing, I don't think that's going to be the main issue. I think what's going to happen is what we're already seeing with the Russians right now, where they're arguing on state TV when they're going to use nukes. What I think is going to happen is that we won't have a pandemic. We will have a state of emergency based off of what Russia's doing at the time and how much they push it, because they've already put the F-16s into Ukraine's hands. So they're already caved in on that, and they're going to give it to them, right? So they're getting further and further and closer to that point of where that red line is going to be for Russia, especially when we already see engagements in Russian soil across the border. That's going to be a problem. So it's probably going to be a limited nuclear strike somewhere, whether it's nuclear artillery or it's going to be a massive attack during that time, and they're going to have to, conspiracy theory territory, they'll have to suspend elections because we can't have a transfer of power when there's an active war going on like this. That's maybe the excuse that they would use. My guess.
So here is Trump's layout. Before we get to that video I put in the private chat, okay? If you want, can you just go to Agenda 47 in that top corner there for me?
Yeah.
And
Said
if you
Agenda
scroll
47.
down, we'll just read the highlights of his. Now look at the difference. Look at the difference of what he has on his page versus what you saw on the other two. Okay? He is breaking down piece by piece by piece what he's going to do. Not just talking, he's giving you it all broken down. Protecting American students from radical left Marxists, ending the nightmare of homelessness and drug addiction, liberating America from Biden's regulations, firing the radical prosecutors, dismantle the deep state, war on the suburbs will end, take care of the economy, and preventing World War III, revolutionize the American standard of living, slashing Biden's deficits. The list is ridiculous. Stop Chinese espionage, missile defense, de-escalation and peace, gender insanity. He breaks, and he has 2 pages of this.
Good, jeez.
2 pages. Not these 5-minute, 3-minute explanations. He's breaking it down. So you have at least a basis for which to see whether or not what you're putting your vote for is something you want. Not a platitude, descriptions. This is massive. This is much, much better than putting up a fancy picture and a fancy video to tell me something. You're breaking each of it down. I would much rather this than another method of operation. Honestly, I would much rather this. Now, you had mentioned the other two guys have a polarizing view when it comes against Trump. Trump could stand on his own. He doesn't need any influencers. He doesn't need people to push his agenda. He doesn't need the media to announce it. He just has to do his own thing, and people will go find him. That's what they don't like. That is why they have to silence him. That's the only reason. Say whatever you think about him being a Jesuit and all that, whatever. If he were all of those things, he would not be targeted like he was. This is why I'm telling you now, it wouldn't be. You look at people like Bush, both Bushes, who were indeed deep state, Jesuit, skull and bones people, never were attacked like that. George Bush W. was attacked for his stupidity, not for his policies. Go back and watch. He was attacked for being dumb, not for being a poor president by policy. He did all the stuff that the state wanted him to do. He happened to make 9/11 take place. It was on his term. His dad, before that, his dad before that did all the deals with China. He sold out nearly all of Africa with policies. Okay, so it's not, I can't believe that he would be part of the system when the system is keeping him away from doing what he wants, especially when he did what he did during the first term he had. I can't believe that. So that's why I don't buy, even if he was part of a secret society, it's not the secret society that the ones running the place once up and running. I'll tell you that much. But you mentioned something, and I put it in the chat there. If someone can click on it. I found the WHO and their description of what they call disease X. Now, I want you to listen to this, guys. It's disease X is the name. Disease X. You can't make this up because you know they're going to come up with a title that fits whatever might be happening in 2024. It's going to pick up a name, a moniker that has to do with it. Okay? Just watch. Just watch it.
Yeah, I have an actual, I got to go through my phone. I have an actual photo on how they're labeling every variation of COVID with these Roman numerals.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going. I'll look through my phone.
Omicron and Delta.
Yep, it's all, and whatever Roman numeral it was, that's the names are on there. Omicron is already on there before Omicron even came out. The name is there.
I remember that list.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up and see what this X actually, what they actually call it.
Welcome to WHO. My name is Nika Alexander, and today we wanted to do a short video to help explain something called Disease X, which we're hearing a lot about. I have with me our expert, Dr. Bernadette Muri. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, you too.
So first question off the top, is there a disease out there right now called Disease X?
No, there is no disease called Disease X.
So there is.
People have been hearing about this Disease X, however, because WHO issued a list of certain diseases. What is that list?
The list is a way to prioritize our efforts. I mean, WHO and all the partners working with WHO on certain diseases that have the potential to give rise to a severe epidemic and for which we don't have enough or no medical countermeasure, meaning no drugs, no vaccine. So it's really to focus this effort on this specific group of disease. Just mention that is not an exhaustive list of disease. There are other diseases that can give rise to huge epidemics, but this one is only focusing on disease for which we have not enough drug and vaccine.
So it's a list asking that donors, that researchers, that scientists focus on these particular diseases that we're concerned about.
Absolutely.
So these are diseases that exist, except for at the end of the list, we wrote Disease X. What was the idea of putting this disease that you said does not exist at the end of our list?
So Disease X is a concept.
Okay, hold on, stop.
What?
You just said at the beginning, there is no such thing as Disease X.
Placeholder.
Unless I'm deaf, there is no. She's smart. She's smart. She says there's no disease named Disease X. She's smart. She's not going to say that there is no such thing as disease. That it's just not on the list as a actual name of the disease. It's just not. It's just not. But it's there for an in case. What's it there for? Just in case. Let's hear what she says it's there for. It's a placeholder. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Just
placeholder.
Be sure that if we have a new disease, completely new disease, or a disease we know but not enough and suddenly emerge and is more severe or spreading everywhere, we will have a space to put the disease and to know that we need to put efforts in terms of research to get drugs and vaccine, let's say.
So in a way, it's a reminder to remember the unknown.
Absolutely.
Thank you
It's
very
a
much.
warning.
Thank you to you.
It's
If
a
you are
warning.
interested in learning more about Disease X or the rest of this list of priority pathogens, go to who.int, our website.
You
and
are
can search
warning
for the
people.
R&D blueprint. That will take
Yeah, they're warning people.
They're warning you that this is coming. Get ready. We have the spot saved just in case. What? Who does that?
I don't know, man.
Look.
I couldn't get past the fact that she said focusing was focusing.
Like what?
She said it illegally.
Focusing.
She's from
yeah.
another.
I know, but it was disturbing. I could because it sounds horrible.
My basic question for all this is, okay, how are you gonna place hold for the? Just make the list of what you got. We don't need to tell us what you plan, and you're doing too much. You're going way further than you need to try and make yourself look valid. Okay, look, you're telling me you're prepping for something that might come just in case that's way worse than anything. How are you gonna prep for that? You tell me. Hold on. You don't know what's coming. Okay, good. But you're planning
it's
on
coming.
it being way worse than what's ever happened before. And so you're going to be proactive about that by having a spot on the list for it in order to create a comeback for it. It tells me that you're already planning it.
The thing they've probably created it. There just hasn't been any real test on it yet. You just don't write that on there off a whim. Just we're going to write Disease X down here. They've probably created it. Probably don't have a variant name for it yet. So they got this vial of something. They're like, what are we going to call it? Just put disease X until we come up with a scary name. Until we come up with a scary name for it. It's going to be called, Mega Death or something.
Raccoon City.
We're gonna call this strand the Kraken. Everybody go, oh my God, the Kraken.
It's a placeholder. That's what gets
like who does that?
It's a placeholder.
Can you imagine Can you imagine going to your doctor and say, this is a list of all the things wrong with you. I'm leaving this one open here, and I'll put disease X on your chart. Why? Oh, I don't know, just in case you get something super awful happen to you. I want to make sure I'm prepped for when it does. Like, what? But you're trying to teach me to be healthy. Yeah, but we got to be ready in case that you catch something that we can't cure. Here you go. We'll keep that. No.
Yeah.
Please take that off my chart. I don't have anything. Yeah, but you could. You could.
It's a placeholder, sir.
Maybe. But, it's ironic that the WHO director, the same people that she was sitting up there talking about, the WHO, came out and said that there's a deadlier freaking virus coming. So we put 2 and 2 together. Maybe that's it. If he said it, that means that he knows something that we don't, and they haven't named it yet.
2 and 2 equals the WHO. That's all I know.
Yeah. 2 and 2 equal 5.
2 and 2 equal the WHO. I'm gonna make that one a shirt too. The 2 and 2 equals WHO.
I mean, if you're one of these vaccine people that took the vaccine, that wore the mask, that believe in science, that believe the WHO, you should really think twice this time.
Or you should become a Christian.
Oh yeah,
You should start believing in God, because if you're an atheist, especially because if you are an atheist and you did all that, you have more faith than a Christian. I mean, you're way ahead of us. Like you could believe anything God said after that point. Like, it'd be nothing for you to believe it. If you could took that, I mean, really, you are ahead of the game.
Look, if there was a new variant, you'd have all these freaking vaccine people standing in line with both arms open, like, stick me. And then another arm grows out their side, and they're sitting there like,
stick them up.
No, don't worry about that one. That one's just a bad dose. We got
this is arm X. It's here as a placeholder, guys.
People will stick anything they tell them to stick, and everybody's like, "Oh, you was in the military." Well, Coy and I understood we didn't have a choice in the military. We signed a contract. Back then, we didn't have a choice, but now I have a choice. They're not sticking me with anything.
Which really surprised me, because when you think about what they did during COVID, they're like, either take the shot or get out. It's like, normally they don't give you a choice. They just stick it in you anyway. Like, go to medical and go get the shot right now. It's like, you're not volunteering to take it. You're being told to take it. There's no choice. Your squad leader or your platoon leader, somebody's telling you to go take it right now.
And people were actually
I thought the whole thing was weird.
Do you think they'll get questions about their approach to the next pandemic when they go on the campaign trail?
Yeah.
And if they how do you foresee Tim Scott and DeSantis answering?
See, the problem is that the vaccine is going to be a bludgeon to use against Donald Trump once they actually start releasing the data that shows that all of these vaccine injuries were related to the vaccines. That's going to be one of the things, is they're going to use it as a political tool to come after Trump, because he's proud of what he did in Operation Warp Speed is going to be the thing that they're going to hit him with in 2024 when it comes to the campaign. And how he was all for it, how he was for the lockdown, how he was for the stimulus checks, all that stuff is going to be used as a bludgeon against him. And that's going to be an uphill battle for him, because he's not one of those people that will take back what he said, right? So he's going to be proud that he did it, but then at the same time, it's going to divide the party at the same as well when they use it. So we'll see.
I don't think they'll answer properly.
No.
I think they'll end up shooting themselves in the foot by going off on tangents and not answering direct. I don't see Tim Scott answering that directly, and I definitely don't see DeSantis answering it directly. DeSantis, my prediction will be that he will say, look at what we did in Florida. That's what he'll say. He'll go back to that. Tim Scott won't really have an answer for it. He's like, well, what we have to do is create a brand new approach. They'll all deflect as to what was to what they think will be, and they will know for a fact they can't get done what they say they're going to try and get done. Let's just be honest about that. They're not going to. We have all this information. Here's why I don't trust anything happening to anybody. We have the regulatory body for investigations right now in the House, right? Because we are the majority.
Yep.
We know for a fact that Biden took money from China and Ukraine. We know for a fact that he helped launder money through his family. We know for a fact that he got money from China to implement certain laws in their benefit. We know that via bank records. We know all that. Yet not a single, you could file impeachment papers all day long. If you're not filing criminal charges against Biden, I'm not listening to you. People in America go to jail for life for less.
Yep. True.
And just like Hillary should be in jail.
He put the entire United States and its sovereignty at risk for his pocket. And you're only talking about a slight impeachment process. He should be one of the people that should be strung up at Gitmo easily. Like easily. But it's not going to happen. So it doesn't really matter to me whether or not DeSantis is going to get in or Tim Scott. None of them is going to do what is necessary. Now, Trump, on the other hand, he's the wild card. The reason he's a wild card to me is because now he has a balance of vengeance in his gut and America's best interest that he has to try and fight. And I honestly, this is my honest opinion, I hope he takes care of the vengeance side first.
Me too.
I'm sorry. I know
it's going to be day one.
I think he'll get to the America side eventually, but I think he should take care of the vengeance side first. I think he should wipe all of them out.
And I mean, that could be something that he can run on
easily.
He can be like, I'm taking them all, every single corrupt politician. I'm coming for you.
Left and right.
Yep.
Yeah, because they've already come after him. It's like, why not? The doors have already been opened.
Yeah.
And they're terrified. They are terrified of this man because he knows something and he has something. This is why they're going after him so hard. How are you going to indict the freaking former president? You know, what are you going to do to him?
But that's the thing. They've already opened the door now. So, like, there's no, you can't say it's because of the political process. Oh, you can't try to go after people because of the political process. You've already broken it. Like, you already broke that for Trump. So, like, you can't use that as a shield anymore. You don't get that protection of, like, oh, it's for the dignity of the United States. No, you've already shoved that into the trash bin. It's already done. So, like, now it's going to be your turn. Like, why isn't Hillary Clinton in jail? They knew she broke the law. They knew her servers were against the law. Comey even said so in his briefing. I remember sitting in the truck, listening to that, and said, how is she not getting recommended to be arrested and to be indicted off of these charges? Because if it was some PFC schmuckatelli somewhere, he would be going to jail for that. We've talked about this before, Michael and I. Like, when you have a security clearance, you can't just willy-nilly accidentally keep records for yourself. It just doesn't happen like that. The difference here with Donald Trump is that he has plenary power. He is the highest authority of what's classified and what's not. He can declassify whatever the hell he wants, and there's no process that you have to make the president declassify anything. That's up to his discretionary powers. So Joe Biden has stuff from when he was a senator, and even further back, 40 years, he has secret documents that were just in his garage with his Corvette. Come on, man. These people should be locked up for the crimes they've committed.
And that's why I don't trust either side. And that's why we have this podcast, because we go after both sides. And when one side is wrong, it doesn't matter whether they have an R or a D or an I next to their name. You're going to get exposed about it. The problem I see coming down the pike is this, and this is what I'll close for me on. The problem I see coming down the pike is this. I don't think DeSantis has a sustainable campaign. He'll probably fizzle out before even the debates happen. I don't think he'll even make it to the debate stage. That's just me. I don't think Tim Scott's going to make it to the debate stage. I think eventually what's going to end up happening is that they're going to hope that maybe they can get enough of Trump out of the minds of the people on the Republican side to maybe let the left win. But it's not going to happen because he has way too much momentum on his side. Even
nobody
with
wants
everything
Biden.
that has happened.
That is something I was thinking too. But back to, like, investigations and everything. A lot of these investigations that you see in front of Congress, in front of all these people, it's nothing more than political theater. It's a shiny object to show people, so Congress can show people we are holding them accountable, because that's the thing these days, accountability. But these people know so much about each other, it's hard to do anything to a fellow politician, because off camera, they're all buddies. They're all doing the same thing. They all have lobbyists. They're all doing inside training. All of them are doing it. So if you sit up there and try to put any sit-in politician or former politician under an investigation and put him in jail, they're going to squeal. And then the whole system will come down. This is why you never see anything happen to him. And like you said, if it was Joe Schmo, they wouldn't even take a day to put that person in jail for doing the same exact thing. So
look at Daniel Penny and the NYC case with him choking that passenger out because he was erratic, and they charged him with manslaughter. Like, even though everybody looks at it as saying this guy was a good Samaritan trying to protect people, he still got charged, right? Some politicians have done much worse and they're still not in jail.
That's right.
Like, it's insane to me that happens, dude. Like,
and then
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Let's just hope that, as we were saying earlier, Trump does actually come in and take the deep state out like he's been trying. I mean, and he has been doing it, in a very micro level. He's been exposing people. It just, they're all so wrapped up and they all protect each other that it goes nowhere. So, with Trump, if he comes back in, the first thing he has to do is just start cutting people off at the knees. FBI director, CIA directors, get rid of these 3-letter organ. I mean, he's just cutting them all down. And then you'll start seeing people talk. You'll start seeing people squeal. They're going to be like, man, I'm not going out for this. I'm going to give them everything. But you have to start breaking down these organizations, and you're going to get people to talk once you start reaching within.
What I want to see Donald Trump do on day one, if he gets in, is release all of the documents related to Epstein and the island and who was involved in the blackmailing stuff.
Yes.
That'll end all of that stuff, because nobody believes that Epstein was the mastermind of that whole thing. He was an asset of some intelligent organization, whether it was ours or somebody else's. They were running operations against people for certain things. And that's going to be the big deal, is like what they have, and he should release that stuff. So any of those things should be released to everybody for all of us to know. Same thing with the JFK files. All that stuff should be already out there. We don't know.
And I know we got to get off here, but the number one thing you should ask about Epstein is, how did he do it for so many years and stay unnoticed or protected? You know what I mean? For so many years, this guy was doing in plain sight. It was right in front of our face. But nobody batted an eye, and that dude was never investigated.
Interpol.
Interpol. Yep. And there's a lot of 3-letter other organizations like that were protecting this guy. And like Coy said, if Trump comes in and puts that letter out, everyone on that list is going to squeal. I'm telling you, they're going to talk.
I wouldn't even wait for that. I just dumped the list.
Yeah.
I declassify it and just publicize it all over Twitter, put it on Truth. So blast it everywhere. Just declassify it straight on the top, because he can just declassify
anything related to Epstein, all of the stuff.
Just drop it all.
That'll literally shake the entire foundation of the entertainment industry,
everything,
the political sphere,
the world,
media, athletics. Oh my God!
Best way to start.
Justin Timberlake, goodbye.
Worldwide relationships. Imagine just the whole world, and you see your world leader on that list. That's going to shake up the world, man.
Yeah.
And then with that, hopefully, I don't see America doing it right away, but a lot of other countries will wake up before America does. America is just too caught up in social issues. But if that list comes out and everybody saw their favorite politician on there, they're like, what? You'll see the internet get shut off immediately.
I'm ready for it.
That's how you nuke everything right there. It's just the Epstein stuff. Anything related to that. Yep.
They're done.
Done. For it.
You'll see a dirty bomb somewhere. They'll be like, shiny object. Exactly how it happens. Yep, shiny object.
So fellas, peoples, in a half hour, Two Strongs going live. Make sure you jump over there. We got an interesting show today that'll polarize you one way or another, to either be pissed off at us or pissed off at what you're seeing. One of the two will happen. So we'll see. Just prep yourself. That's all I'm saying. Just prep yourself. It's going to get a little deep in a half hour. So until then, Monday, we don't I think next Saturday we're going to do the Rumble. So we're going to plan for next Saturday to do the Rumble. We might go into more detail about Disease X on that one. And more than likely go into more discussion about what exactly is happening at the border, because I got some information recently about that. And then also touch on possibly race relations beginning a brand new Reginald Denny kind of situation happening throughout the United States. I
Mm.
could see that coming down the pike. But definitely we're going to talk about the who and the what's about it. So don't forget that at all. We are going to try and get our store up and running here soon enough. We have a couple of things for merchandise that we have ready. We just have to make the shirts for it. And when you see them, you're going to like them. Trust me, you're going to like them. They'll be hilarious. And there's stuff you can walk to trigger a whole lot of people. It'll be triggerable. Don't worry about it. And we'll more likely have a Savage Patriots shirt with the little logo on the thing here too, just to make sure you have that. So
Hey,
look
real
forward to
quick,
that. Mhm.
I know you have Too Strong going on. Don't forget the Hooch, Coy and I's podcast every
Yep, on
Sunday at 6
Sunday.
p.m. So you can still get your fix with your favorite people. So we're 4 days a week, 5. You can watch us all the time. So don't forget Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Hooch podcast. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook.
So Lee,
Yeah. So like, share, comment, subscribe, and go to Too Strong right now.
we'll see you guys. Peace.
See ya.